Hey guys, today we're going to be reading our final chapter in Weasel, chapter 19, which is located on page 115. Follow along with me. We started plowing the next day. It was hard work. My job was to follow along behind the plow and pick up any rocks that were turned up and carrying them over to the rock pile. There were lots of them. Pa said you'd think we planted rock seeds the way they kept turning up. Later, when plowing and planting were done, we'd add them to the stone wall. We worked long days, but it was good to be outside and to feel the dark earth warming in the sun, getting ready to take in our crop seeds. We talked about the dance, recalling this or that, enjoying it all over again in the remembering. Molly teased Pa about dancing so much with Miss Abigail Baldwin, and for the first time I could recall, I saw Pa blush a deep red. He mumbled something about it and looked away, and I realized with a start that Pa might marry again someday. Nothing stays the same, I knew that now. I thought about Mama and how she'd most likely be glad to have someone looking after us. I told Pa what Eli had said to me the night of the dance. Would you like to learn to fiddle? He asked, looking at me curiously. Yes, sir, I said. I'd like to be able to play like that and make folks feel so. I stammered, not being able to put into words what I felt about Eli's playing. So good. Pa said he reckoned he knew what I meant. He thought just maybe if we had a good crop this year, we could see about getting me a fiddle. And he figured that our trips to town, we could arrange to have me and Eli get together. And Pa, I said, could you teach me how to whistle the way you were doing at the dance? Pa showed me how to pull my lower lip back tight over my lower teeth, squish my tongue behind my back teeth, and force air out between the tip of my tongue and my front two teeth. I practiced all morning, but nothing came out but a lot of air and spit. Then, as I dropped a big rock into the pile, a whistle came out. After a few more tries, I stood up, looked toward Pa, and whistled to him, loud and long. Job's ears pricked up, and Pa turned around to smile and wave. We spent the rest of the day whistling back and forth, trying to outdo each other. It was good to know Pa needed me, and putting in a good crop and maybe being able to buy a fiddle with the extra money were what I began mostly to think about. A whole month passed by before I even knew it. One day in the middle of May, Pa and I were out in the new field, digging around the base of a stump so we could hitch Job to it and pull it out. Suddenly, we heard Molly's voice, high and excited. Papa, Nathan, come quick. We could see her standing at the stone wall, looking at something in her hands. Leaving off work on the stump, we hurried to where Molly stood, reading a letter. She finished and looked up at us, her eyes all shiny and wet. Read this, she said. It's from Ezra. Pa and I read together. Dear Molly, your letter was true. I am going to Kansas to find her kin. Tell Nathan be happy in the hat. Weasel is small now. I remember you always. Your friend Ezra. Look at this. It's all wrapped up in the letter. Molly held out something that dangled from a thin strip of leather. It was a locket carved with bone and polished and oiled till it gleamed shiny white. There were two rounded halves held together by a clasp. The face of a young girl was carved on the front half, and crude though it was, anyone could see that it was Molly. Her wide-set eyes, turned-up nose, curving smile, even her bangs, and a hint of her braid. Open it, she said, her face beaming with pleasure. I pulled open the clasp, and the two halves opened to reveal a lock of Ezra's dark hair. So I won't forget him, she said softly, and this is for you, Nathan. She handed me a tall black hat. I took the hat, remembering how solemn and dignified Ezra had looked in it, and how sad. Then I could see his face twisting with sudden hatred when he saw Weasel across the river. But Ezra was going to Kansas now, leaving Weasel behind. He'll be happy now, won't he, Papa? Asked Molly. It sure looks like he's going to try, Pa answered. What does that mean, though? Weasel is small now? She asked, looking puzzled. Pa looked at me. What do you think, son? I think he means that. I struggled finding it as hard to speak my thoughts as if I were the one who had no tongue. I think he means that now he can see so much more. I spread my arms wide to take in the forest, and the sky, and Kansas, and the whole world beyond. Weasel's just little compared to it all. I stopped feeling foolish. We all stood quiet for a minute, grinning at each other, looking at the hat and the locket and the letter, and thinking of Ezra's going to Kansas to find his wife's people. Weasel's dead, it's true, but in some ways I don't think he'll ever die. There's those of us who will never be the same because of knowing him. And even if Weasel's not around, there's likely to be someone else like him, or some other kind of meanness and sorrow and sadness. But there's plowing and planting and kinfolk in Kansas and whistling and fiddling too. That's what Ezra wanted to tell me, I think. And I reckon if he can let go of hating Weasel, I can too. If I could play fiddle like Eli, if I could tell the story better than with words, maybe, because it seems to me life's like Eli's playing. There's everything in it. Without the sad parts, the rest wouldn't sound so sweet. It's good to have Ezra's hat, but I don't need it to remember him. I won't ever forget Ezra or what happened to his wife and to the Shawnees. They'll be a part of every song I play. And that's the end of our book, Weasel. If you enjoyed Weasel, you might also like the book Hatchet or A Call of the Wild by Jack London. Those are both kind of wilderness-style books, people finding their way out in the darkness and good messages behind it. So I hope you enjoyed Weasel. We'll have a different story to read tomorrow. Thanks for stopping by. Bye, guys.